It is preview season, and today it's the Maryland Terrapins. Welcome in to Armchair Analysis here on this wonderful June 7th, 2025. Hope y'all are having a fantastic week so far, or weekend. I think this is a Saturday. I don't know. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, so forgive me. But either way, hope you guys are having a great day. And let's just go ahead and get into this because I don't really know what to think of this Maryland team. I have been kind of racking my brain over the last couple of days trying to think of how I wanted to put everything in this video because this is a team that I think could be surprising. I lean more towards the side of negativity, which is unfortunate because it's a team that, like, as a personally, I like Mike Locksley. I like this entire program. And there's a lot of things to like about the future of this program, which makes it really difficult to feel the way I feel this year. But we'll get into all that here in just a second. But again, I thank you guys for tuning in. So far, we are now on video number 7 so far here of 67 or 68. Really excited, and I appreciate all the support so far on everything. And if you're watching this video right now, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the Maryland Terrapins. As always, we start with talking about the 2024 season, which this team went 4-8, 1-8 in conference. This was a team that scored 23.7 points per game, averaged allowed 30.4 points per game, and sat at negative 0.2 turnover margin per game. This is a team that did a good job of taking care of the football in a lot of places, but they also were really good at forcing turnovers. This is one thing I really love about the Maryland defense. They're always super aggressive. And I don't feel like that's going to change. And I think it has to be that way this year, which means you're going to get bit a lot, but it's also going to provide a reward at times. I'll explain a little bit more why I feel that's going to have to happen this year. But those two numbers, the points per game and points per game allowed, both below 100th in the country. That turnover margin sits at 75th, which is pretty good. Best one we've seen so far here in these previews. The recruiting class, top 25. A great class from Mike Locksley, led by Malik Washington, freshman quarterback, who is expected to be an absolute star in the future, the star of this program in the future, and for good reasons. A number 5 class in the class of 2025. Number 5 quarterback in the class of 2025, and a guy that I think is going to really blossom in this program given the right tools. Of course, Mike Locksley remains the head coach here in 2025. Offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton, and a lot of people are familiar with Pep Hamilton, whether it's NFL, college. He's been around for a long time, and a guy that I think has, if anybody can work with this offense and create a level of success, I think it's going to be Hamilton. But the question remains, do you go with the junior out of UCLA, Justin Martin, or do you go ahead and take the chance on the true freshman, Malik Washington? If I'm being honest, and that's nothing but here on the channel, I think Malik Washington is your only option in 2025 if you're Maryland. And if Justin Martin is on the field, there better be a damn good reason. This is already a team that's going to struggle, I think, in terms of experience, in terms of overall talent. And I think the fact that their schedule is not particularly easy given recent years and given the trajectory of the majority of programs on this schedule. We'll talk a little more about that later. So when you sit here and look at this team, who gives you the best chance to win? Malik Washington. Who's got the higher floor? You could argue the experience maybe in Justin Martin, but I would say the higher ceiling certainly is Malik Washington, and that's where we sit right now in the quarterback battle, at least where I would sit right now. As for the rest of this offense, you have Nolan Ray and DeJuan Williams expected to be the 2 running backs. I presume this is going to be more in the 2 running back system, and I don't really know who stands out at this moment. I guess my assumption is Nolan Ray, just given he's had more college experience. He's a redshirt sophomore versus other guys who have been here for just 2 years in the program. At wide receiver, it's interesting because it reminds me of Florida State in the sense of guys that have never really been star players at their position. Jaleel Farouk transfers in from Oklahoma. Caleb Webb transfers in from Tennessee. And then you got Octavian Smith Jr., a guy that I think can be okay. At tight end, you got Dorian Fleming. I think the passing game can be all right. I don't think it's great, and I'm kind of concerned given what I know that Pep Hamilton likes to do. I don't really know how these guys fit in that system. It'll be interesting. It'll be something that's kind of fun to watch, a storyline to watch throughout the season. But the offense just, to me, doesn't scream potent. It doesn't scream good, even. It just sits here, and to me, I sit back and say, how in the world are they going to put points on the board? Because I don't honestly know. I hate to be super critical early in a video like this, but it's just a team that I don't know what they're going to do. It's a team that, as a whole, is somewhat experienced on the offensive line. Ryan Howerton's a redshirt freshman, though, who's going to be starting at left guard, projected. That could be problematic. Ryan Howerton is, Ritrell Perry, transfer, going to be playing left tackle. We'll see how he fits into the offense. It just feels like a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to try to figure out how they're going to mesh together. And again, a lot of inexperience on the field overall for guys who are relatively older players, especially at the wide receiver, tight end, quarterback position, minus, again, Washington, who I project. But no matter where you go, this team just does not fill the experience side very well. Hopefully what I'm saying there makes a little bit of sense. As for this defense, it's going to be a team led by Ted Monachino and Azar Abdul-Rahim. Those are the two coordinators, by the way, co-coordinators. Daniel Wingate is the returning leader in tackles with 50 from last season. Michael Harris is a returning sack leader. He had 1. You're seeing a trend. Now, Jalen Husky, 3 interceptions last year. He returns, and I project him to be the leader of the defense. I think that he's probably going to be the guy that we're looking at by the time everything is settled to really lead this team. Some guys I'm excited to watch, though, and see how they grow. 2 4-star player prospects out of high school in this last class. Bryce Jenkins, a nose tackle. I think he's going to be really solid. And then you got Messiah Delhomme, who came out as an athlete, is going to be playing some safety. Going to be behind Jalen Husky to start the season, but I expect that he's going to be on the field a lot and getting a lot of playing time. Just a couple guys, again, that I think you really need to watch if we're talking about Maryland and development. Because I think if we're looking at this team, I think that's the key word of the 2025 season is development. We've talked about it. Really just a huge lack of experience on this team and a huge lack of big game experience. And they have more than enough games that are going to be tough as it stands that it just feels really like this is going to be an extreme down year. And last year, again, they went 4-8, 1-8 in conference. It feels like there's kind of a severe regression, but it almost feels like the calm before the storm type of thing, or maybe even the I don't even know what you want to say, but it feels like it's really bad, but the future sets up well. And if they stick it out with Mike Locksley, I think it can really work out, but we will just have to sit back and wait and see. And even when I was writing, I always write these paragraphs for every team, and the exact quote I wrote was, "It's not that I think this team is bad, but the offensive skill positions just leave a lot to be desired." And I feel that way about really every position. I think the majority of this team leaves a lot to be desired, but I'm excited for the true freshmen. Again, Delhomme, Jenkins, Washington, I think all those guys can step up and be either key players or role players on this team early in their career. So let's take a look at the schedule. And I'm excited to do so because I think there's a lot of things to point out here. First off, if you're a young team, and this is going to sound really silly to those who might be more casual viewers, Florida Atlantic is not the team you want to start with. Caden Veltkamp, Zach Kitley's first game as a head coach. This team is going to come out hair on fire and, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall. It is going to be insane to watch this FAU offense in 2025. That's going to be tough. You get a couple games to really figure out who you are with NIU and Towson. And you get a Wisconsin team that I think is going to be down this year in all reality. Beyond that, though, you get Washington, Nebraska. You go on the road to UCLA. And this is the issue that I'm noticing is the winnable games, or the games that seem more winnable, you go on the road for them. Wisconsin, UCLA, Rutgers, and even Michigan State. You're not playing on the road, but you're playing in Detroit, which is, you call it a neutral site, but that's right down the road from East Lansing. It is going to be a tough road for the Terps this year. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about what I think they'll be. Sitting here looking at the bottom of the screen real quick, though, you can see over-under sits at 4.5 wins. The odds to win the Big Ten, plus 30,000, and national championship odds, as everybody else has been, plus 100,000. So with that said, you kick the season off with FAU, and I talked about it. Zach Kitley, Caden Veltkamp, this offense of FAU is going to be lights out. And I think they're going to do just enough. I think we're going to talk upset week 1 of the season where FAU comes to town and does really whatever they want against this Maryland team. I think the offense is going to struggle. I don't know how they're going to put it together early in the season. And this game is not going to be a confidence booster like I think they expected when they scheduled it. They're going to move on from this, though, with 2 wins. I think they beat NIU. NIU kind of got beat up by the portal, but this is a game that realistically is losable, too. This NIU team, everybody's eyes are on them. They beat Notre Dame last year. Can they get another Power 5 win? I don't think it happens here. Towson, this is a pretty regular matchup for Maryland. I don't expect this to be anything too crazy. You go on the road to Wisconsin, and again, I think this is a winnable football game. It really is, and honestly, I may change my tune later on in this offseason, but for right now, I'm taking Wisconsin to win. I think that just the atmosphere of Camp Randall Stadium keeps the Badgers in the game and ultimately gives them the win. You're going to play Washington and Nebraska, 2 teams that I think by this point in the season are going to understand who they are and what they want to be. DeMond Williams, I think, is going to be a breakout star for Washington this year. I think Washington gets the win. You follow that up with Nebraska. I think the Huskers are going to get a win. We talk about year 3 Matt Rule. I've said that enough here on the channel, but I really do believe in what they're trying to do. And of course, Dana Holgorsen stepping in to be the full-time offensive coordinator this year. Nebraska is a team that is going to be, I think, much better than what we're talking about with Maryland. You go on the road to UCLA, and I think that, yeah, it helps that Nico Iamaleava transferred out there, but there's still so much left for this team to put together. This game being on the road, and I trust the quarterback position more at UCLA than I do at Maryland, I'm going to take the Bruins. You get Indiana. I don't really think Indiana takes a step back. I like Fernando Mendoza. I like this entire team. Elijah Surratt's going to be an absolute stud once again this year. Taking the Hoosiers. You go on the road to Rutgers. This is a game that could go back and forth too. I don't like either of these teams at any rate as I look at them currently. But I like Rutgers a little more. I like Greg Schiano just a little more to have a team ready to go, especially coming into the month of November. I'm going to take the Scarlet Knights there. You get Illinois and Michigan, and I'm just going to go ahead and say you're going to get 2 losses. I think that Illinois is a team, everybody's talking about that Indiana of 2025 from the Big Ten. Michigan, on the other hand, I think is just prime for a bounce-back year. So you go into Michigan State. Is it 2-10 or is it 3-9? I'm putting 2-10 on the board. Simply because quarterback position. I think that this is going to be tough. I think that the skill positions are going to be tough to figure out, and it's tough to develop over the course of just the season. The week-to-week growth, specifically of the younger players and setting up for the 2026-27 season. Yes, it's an under. yes, they're certainly not winning the Big Ten, certainly not winning a championship. And to be completely honest, I do not think this is far off. And if it is, they likely win the FAU game. They likely steal a win over one of Wisconsin, UCLA, Rutgers. And that's where they sit. I would be genuinely surprised to see anything above 4 on the board for Maryland this year. This team is just down in all reality, and young, and they're going to grow, and they're going to turn into a program that I think, or turn back into the program that I think everybody wants them to be, especially around the state. But for right now, this is just a team that has a lot of growing to do. So let me know what you think. Let me know where I'm missing. If you're a Maryland fan, know that I'm sorry. Like I said with Oklahoma State, I do not mean to do these and be so negative about a football team. I really don't. I wish that I could go in and say great things about everybody and predict everybody to be 10-2 or something like that. But in all reality, what do you expect from this team? The expectations can't be high. And I think the biggest thing is showing week-to-week improvement, setting yourself up for next year, and when you get there next year, assuming Mike Locksley stays, and I would hope he does, because I think he's done enough to earn at least the trust of the boosters, the athletic department, to get a chance with the guys he's got in. And they've got a really solid class brewing for next year too. It's not like it's just a one and done. They've got a solid class coming for next year. This is a team that I would like to see what they look like next year. I would like to see what they look like under Mike Locksley next year. Hopefully that becomes the reality. Hopefully this doesn't completely end up in a firing, but I mean, who really knows in today's era of college football? Again, you know your team better than I do. So if you're a Maryland fan, let me know who I might be missing out on. Who am I sleeping on this team? Who can give this team the boost that they need to be better than 2-10? I'll certainly be open to that conversation. Let me know what your predictions are for the Maryland team this year. Better than 2-10? Worse? Who knows? If you got this far, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know all of your thoughts. Thank you guys for the support so far here on the preview season that we've put together. Tomorrow, it's the Kentucky Wildcats, and I'm excited to talk about them because I think this is a team that did really well in the portal, first off, and the recruiting wasn't terrible either. So I think this is a team that can maybe improve off that 4-8 season last year. We'll talk a little bit more about that again tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.